Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve podcast takes a close-up look at controversial subject matter and hot-button topics, adding humor, cynicism, and a dose of reality to the stuff we're not supposed to talk about anymore. Politics, religion, sex, gender identity, violence, corruption. Nothing is left unturned in this lighthearted approach to information dissemination. The world is experiencing a pandemic of cowardice. 80% of people do not believe the craziness they've been coerced to agree with. Grab a friend, grab a beverage, and dive in with us as we take on the narrative and blast social stigmas with truth. Here are your hosts, Patriots Ray Amanat and Steve Reed.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at out in social media land, TV land. Welcome to Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve. And I don't know why my shirt's all fuzzy. There we go. I'm Ray Amanat with Taboo Talk here in sunny Port Richey, Florida. And my co-host, Mr. Steve Reed, is in northern Texas, somewhere in a bunker, trying to figure out how to survive the border crisis, which is going to be the topic of the day.
Yes, it
Steve,
is.
How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. And my hope is today that our friends with Mr. Google and Mr. YouTube and Mr. Facebook are not offended and we don't get kicked off because I think we're going to be stepping on some toes today.
So Taboo Talk is an opinion-based show, everybody. Opinions are like buttholes. Everyone's got one. And, don't take offense to anything that we do on this show, but, everyone's also got a toilet. So, you can take what we say, what we do as fodder on some of it, but we do try to do all of our homework and base our opinions on facts. So
yes, that is correct. Yeah, and it's not necessarily the opinions of our guests, our sponsors, or affiliates, or the OBBM network as a whole. So
well, typically our guests, yes, but we would like to say, have some guests with differing viewpoints where we can kind of debate them on some of these topics that we talk about that are taboo.
Yes. So, well, Ray, why don't you tell everybody who our honored guest is for today?
We have a returning guest, Mr. Kyle K.D. Sims, who is a political activist. And I would like to add, Kyle, would you like to be the Taboo Talk Eye in the Sky representative, where you'll be reporting from the scenes? We got some videos of you going, yep, I'm right here, we're on the border, and this is what's going on, and we'll pipe you into our show and let America know what the hell is going on with our country.
We can do that for sure, guys. Absolutely.
Welcome to the show. So, Kyle, you want to talk to us a little bit about your experience at the border, why you went to the border? You're from Texas, given the hat, of course, but let our listeners and viewers know, a little bit about yourself and what you were doing at the border this last weekend.
Well, I'm a campaign manager for a U.S. Congress candidate running in U.S. District 23, and this district covers over 800 miles of border in 29 counties. This past weekend, we wanted a solidarity movement at the border in Eagle Pass just to show people, give them a real bird's eye view of what's actually happening at the border. So my candidate, along with myself and some other people, went down to Eagle Pass to get firsthand knowledge of what's going on down there. I've been down there several times, but for a lot of people, they have not been down there. And so we just wanted to put it out there and show people that the fences are being cut, the people are coming through, and our border is wide open.
it kind of looks insane when you say the border is wide open. What exactly do you mean by that?
Well, there's a couple of different things. The fence that Bush put up, most of the gates on that fence are forcibly open. Some welded, some are chained. So basically, that fence does nothing. Other areas of the border, there's no fence at all. Where Trump started his wall, it stopped in certain areas, and it just stopped because they stopped everything. And then the other aspect is the Constantine wire that's all along the river down there. We actually saw firsthand Border Patrol agents cutting the fence with bolt cutters and allowing the illegals to come in. When we first got there on Sunday morning, there was about 16 to 20 illegals lined up right in front of us on the river. And not too long after that, we saw a couple of airboats coming with National Guard, and then a couple of flat bottom boats pulled up. They then moved them out. They thought they moved them out of our sight down a couple hundred yards, but we could still see them. And they actually got out of the truck with their boat cutters and started cutting the wire through. And that's where the illegals are coming through. In past times, we've even seen them point lasers across the river to show the illegals exactly where to cross, where the water's a little bit more shallow.
So these Border Patrol agents that are doing this are not upholding their sworn duty to the Constitution to protect our country from people, foreign and domestic, that may be terrorists or may do us harm. We don't know if they're have any type of diseases, another virus that can spread. We don't know if they're trafficking fentanyl that's killing people. We don't know if they're human traffickers on top of that. And those Border Patrol agents that are, I'm sure they're being told to do it. They're just following orders. But for that same token, for me, if I was in that position, I would say, no, this is unconstitutional, and my job is to uphold the Constitution. But, what are they saying? Have you talked to any of them as to why?
They really wouldn't talk to us. I did talk to several DPS officers down there, Department of Public Safety. You could tell by their voice, their demeanor, their actions, they did not want to be there, and they didn't agree with it. Border Patrol, on the other hand, is pretty quiet. We were very respectful to everybody we came in contact with, and I'm not in their shoes, but I do believe that they're probably doing it because that's what they're told to do. Are they withholding their oath to the Constitution? No, they're not. And Ray, you brought up a good point. We did see, myself personally saw about 7 children. There was one big group of 50 that came across while we were there. There were about 7 children scattered out through those 50. We don't know who those children belong to. Yeah. We don't know if they're going to be trafficked. We don't know if, more likely they were paid, their families paid the cartel to bring them over here. We don't know what's going to happen to those children. I do know that sex trafficking in this country and in this state is at an all-time high, as everybody knows.
It's insane.
The fentanyl crisis is just out of the roof. So it's really a shame that, there was people that came from Iran, Guatemala, Honduras,
China.
Everywhere you can imagine. We were thankful enough to talk to Griff Jenkins with Fox News. He's been down there covering it for 2.5 years. He did talk to us quite a bit. And, the stats that are coming out of the border right now are just unbelievable and very disheartening that we don't know, as Ray said, we don't know what these people are bringing with them. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they're going. All we do know is our tax dollars, we're spending millions upon millions of dollars from Texas to bust these illegals all around the country. And while that is sending the message and it's waking Democrats up, I would prefer we repel them at the border and send them back to Mexico and let Mexico deal with them.
Yeah. Kyle, with you saying that, so we're spending millions of dollars to send all of these illegals all over the country. The last I heard, we have as a state the responsibility to protect our own borders. Why in the yeah? Why is Greg Abbott not protecting our borders?
Well, very interesting. I even have Republicans argue with me about this. And if you read the Constitution, Article 1 and Article 4, I read it to say that if we are being invaded, we have the right to defend our sovereignty. I've argued that for a few years now.
Yeah.
People say, no, it's all federal. And then they come back and say, well, if Abbott didn't if he sent the state guard down there, Joe Biden can federalize those troops. Okay. Let him federalize the troops. So you're going to tell me that state guard and federal guard are going to go in battle with each other because our border's open? I just don't believe that's going to happen. I don't know for sure, but these guys took an oath to defend this sovereign nation against foreign and domestic enemies.
Yes.
So why does Abbott not stick his neck out and say, we're putting all the state guard on the border. We're going to repel everybody that comes across. And let's see what happens, but we're not even trying it.
And that's my frustration. I have yet to see any evidence from the State House, from Austin, that they are diligent in shutting the border down. And it's not impacting them in Austin. It's impacting us.
Well, and the sad part about it, Steve, you hear nobody in the legislature even talking about this, whether it be in D.C. or Austin. These guys are worried about playing patty cakes and distracting us from the obvious what's happening. Yep. We have been invaded.
No question.
And the rail cars that Abbott put down there, the fence, the lights, all the optics things that he's put on the border is not doing a damn thing to secure the border. It's just not.
Yeah, we've got a lot of people signing in on our Facebook Live as well as on our YouTube that are making comments. So thank you for watching. Nancy, Mark, Becky, keep up the good work. Spread the word as far as what's happening at the border based on what you guys are experiencing yourselves.
Well,
Kyle, I want to show a couple of slides, some images that you sent to us. What is this picture that we are seeing right now?
So there's two bridges in Eagle Pass. One of them is a pedestrian bridge. One of them is a train bridge. This is under the pedestrian bridge. And what they do is they bring those buses in. When those illegals get out of the water, National Guard will take them to that bus. They'll put them on that bus and they'll take them to an NGO processing center where they give them food, water, clothing, phones. Just while we were down there this weekend, we probably saw about 20 buses from Eagle Pass going back to where we were in Hondo. This is an everyday occurrence. I mean, the buses just keep coming in and loading people up.
And who's funding the buses? Is it the taxpayer that's paying for the buses, for the mileage, for the gas, for the maintenance of the buses, for the person driving the bus?
Absolutely.
On top of everything that they're giving these people, that's coming out of our pockets as taxpayers.
Well, literally, I lost count of how many buses and Highway Patrol and National Guard we saw this weekend at the border. It was unbelievable the amount of traffic. And you're not even talking about the Border Patrol checkpoints. There is millions and millions of dollars being wasted in manpower and in resources to let these illegals come in and invade our country. And we talked to one Highway Patrol down there that said the NGOs that he knows about all the way to San Antonio are busting at the seams. They have no more room So where do we start putting these people now? Are we going to be like New York and start putting them up in 5-star hotels? I mean, what are we going to do? They're running our streets. They're scaring the hell out of citizens that live here. We don't know what they're doing, what they're up to. Every single day on Facebook, I see somebody else near me that has been followed in a store by an illegal. They're being followed in a car by an illegal. This has not only increased crime in that aspect, but it's also made others start increasing crime in the area. Last weekend we had a shooting at the state fair.
Kyle, Steve and I did an episode a while ago, and we got to go to a commercial break in a little bit, Steve, but we did an episode where we talked about a Trojan horse, where most of the people that are crossing the border are of military age, men, that it's a battalion on a daily basis, a military battalion on a daily basis crossing our border. And I just, when we say this is Clucky the Chicken, wake the cluck up, America, because I think something worse than 9/11 may happen in the near future, and all we can do is say "I told you so" if we're not victims of it ourselves.
Well, I'm glad you brought 9/11 up, because I want people to remember something. It took 19 people to create 9/11.
Yeah.
They know of 200. What they know of 200 terrorist watch list people have crossed that border. How many do they not? Yeah, how many do they not know of? Mm-hmm. And it only took 19 to bring this country to its knees. So what the hell are we doing, people?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's perfect timing for us to go and talk about some self-defense.
That's what I want. Latch on as soon as you can, make it hard. If I stand on one leg, can you yank me off balance? Yeah. If I stand feet wide, can you pull me off balance? Come on, what's the matter with you? How you doing? What was the first thing she did? She walked away. She took her eyes off of me. She looked away. I take her purse. I run. She goes to security. She goes to law enforcement. They're going to say, well, what did he look like? And you're going to be like, it happened so fast. I didn't see him coming. You didn't see him coming because I made you feel uncomfortable, and you took your eyes off me and walked away. The whole point is, and this does not mean I want you to go and flirt and talk to the person, or I don't want you to go, I see you. I just want you to, that's a cool shirt. I'd like to get that because my kids are in soccer. I'm letting you know I'm aware of you. I'm letting you know I can describe you.
How you doing?
So you'll see that we provide free lessons, and as with anything in our country, nothing is free. Yes, we provide our child safety programs and our women's self-defense and corporate wellness programs for free, but it's also, we're able to do that based on donations that we get from people or sponsors that we get from businesses that believe in our message and want to provide training so that we can have safer communities, safer workplaces, safer schools. If you use this QR code to go to our website, make a one-time or recurring donation, that would help us continue to offer our programs for free for the people that might not be able to afford going to a karate school for self-defense classes or anything. We can do a seminar that helps build the foundation and gives you the knowledge and tools to know what to say and what to do to not be a victim of violence, of bullying, or of human trafficking.
You know, Ray, we got a problem here. There are people that are on iHeartRadio and Apple, iTunes, and Spotify and so forth, and they can't see the QR code. Do you have a website that goes along with this?
If they go to our website at heroesinaction.us, and heroes is spelled HEROES, which means helping everyone resist oppression every day safely. Heroesinaction.us. You can just click on the Donate Now tab or button and make a one-time or recurring donation, which will help us keep the lights on and continue offering our programs to the public for free.
And they can also send you an email at
ray@heroesinactionnow.org, because we want everyone to be a hero now.
Oh, Ray, you are incorrigible. So, okay, so back, yeah, whatever. I want to show a couple of real short videos, Kyle, that you sent, and I couldn't get it so we could get the sound. Sound isn't really relevant to this, but let's see if I can get this. Bear with me as I deal with some of the technical things here.
If you can narrate what you're showing us as well.
Absolutely. So let's see. All right, all right, so I got to share that screen, and let's see if we can get this.
So these are people, Kyle, that are...
These are illegals coming across the border, and as you can see all the clothes that is entwined in that wire, what a lot of them do is they'll take their clothes off and they'll use their clothes as basically a human shield against the wire, because that stuff is just like razors. And they find a little place they can crawl through, and they come up right at the bank of the river and come right through.
That's insane. So the razor wire is pretty much worthless.
It's worthless. Yeah. I mean, if they can't get through, they just cut it to where they can't get through, and they let them come on through.
Okay, I got another short video clip. I'm going to show this one as well. It's about a minute or so in length as well.
Talk about wasted tax dollars spending there. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable is an understatement. So here we go.
Kyle, what are we seeing?
This is basically the result of illegals trashing our country. This is all up and down the border, even down Highway 90. But this is the result of our border being invaded. And most of those, like I said, they take their clothes off to shield them from the razor wire. And some of them, many of them don't have shirts on when they cross that border, when they get through that wire. That's what they do. I mean, it's so nasty down there. There's feminine products, there's underwear, there's undergarments. I mean, there's pants, shirts, whatever you can. It's all down there. And this stuff just keeps building. And then we have to pay our troops to go in there and clean it up, or other people to come in there and clean it up every so often. It's absolutely horrific at the nastiness of that border on our southern border. It's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, and our government is doing absolutely nothing other than enabling this whole thing to take place.
That is correct. There's nothing happening, and I'm really disappointed in the leadership in Texas. I thought Texas was stronger than this. I'm a native Texan, and I'm embarrassed of Texas right now. I never thought I would live to see such horrendous, blatant invasion of our country that I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, mercy. All right, I want to show one more video, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of these things. This is actually an interview with Tom Homan, who was in charge of the border before the current administration. So let's see if we can take a quick look at this.
Despite the U.S. and Israel having some of the world's top intel agencies, the Hamas attack was nowhere on their radar, apparently, sparking fear at home after 154 people on the terror watch list were caught trying to cross our borders this year. Former acting ICE director and Fox News contributor Tom Homan joins me now. Tom, look, we have detailed all the problems that the border crisis causes, from a drain on resources to overcrowded schools. But let's be real, none of them, all of them, I should say, pale in comparison to the threat of some of these individuals that are crossing our border. They want to do us harm in reality, right, Tom?
Like you and I have been talking about this. I've been screaming for 2 years with all the issues on the border, the fentanyl, the trafficking of women and children, the humanitarian crisis. I've said for 2 years, my biggest concern on our southern border is terrorism. Because, look, the Border Patrol's arrested people from 171 different countries. Many of these countries are sponsored for terror. They've arrested 267 people off the terrorist watch list since Joe Biden's been in the White House. We got 1.8 million gotaways. Now, many people say 1.7. Okay, 1.7, but I think it's 1.8. If you don't think a single one of that 1.8 gotaways did come from a country sponsoring terror, this is the biggest national security issue facing this country. I think it's the biggest national security terror since 9/11.
So that's right where we were down there in Eagle Pass.
Was it?
And you see lines like that all day long. I mean, all day long. Even after we left, Griff Jenkins sent me another video he just took of down there. And people from Iran were crossing. You know, I firmly believe that they're building an army. And that army is going to be huge.
Yeah.
And we're not going to be prepared for what's coming. We're just not.
I mean, the only saving grace is the United States. There's so many people that are gun owners, and that's why the left is trying so hard to take away our ammo and take away our guns. Because if they do have an army, and this is not me trying to be Mr. Conspiracy Theorist, but, you know, this is that Trojan horse. If they do have that army and we don't have our own weapons, then it's Nazi Germany all over again.
What it is, and the Republican congressman that's over that district, that's 29 counties, actually called for more gun control. He doesn't want the wall. He wants 3-year work visas given to illegals with no questions asked. He wants them to come back after 3 years and check in. Well, do we really think they're going to do that? I mean, this is really stupid that we don't have enough people involved that understand how important elections are. And this one coming up this primary coming up in March for that district is one of the most important plots of land in the entire United States, because it's all of our border towns. So I implore people every day to get involved in this race and understand that this is detrimental to our safety and to our children's future.
So I don't mind naming names. Who is the congressman in that area right now?
Tony Gonzalez.
Okay. And he is in favor of gun control,
Yes.
which means he would basically deny the rights of American citizens to arm and protect themselves from the invasion that's taking place. Is that what you're saying?
You're exactly right. Just look up the HIRE Act, HIRE Act, and you will see some of that in that bill that he co-authored. He also wants us to fund drag queen shows in the military, and he's ex-military. That's how sick this guy is.
You know what I'd like to do to that bill that's drafted up that says that?
Go ahead, Ray. Do it. Do it.
Just blow it to smithereens.
I mean, this is why when people have an R beside their name, people really need to do research. And
Yeah,
vet
absolutely.
candidates. I mean, we have too many people that go vote for somebody just because they look pretty and they talk smooth.
Yeah, exactly
Most
right.
time in America, if we don't start voting on policy and quit worrying about looks and how they talk, we're going to be in a heap of trouble really quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, guys, I hate to do this. Wish we didn't have to do this, but we need to go to another commercial break. So hold on.
Life isn't always sunshine and roses. Sometimes it's full of roadblocks. the kind that aren't as easy to fix as filling a hole or repairing a car. Personal roadblocks are another thing altogether. Why do I feel stuck? The same things anger me every time. Why am I doing this anyway? Fixing it yourself can be frustrating and confusing. And if more than one person is involved, DIY might mean destroy it yourself. Maybe it's time for another solution. Steve Reed shines a light on your roadblocks and helps you find the best way forward for you. Stephen Reed Ministries, bringing light and hope for a victorious life. To overcome your roadblocks, schedule an appointment with Steve Reed today. Bringing light
And I love helping people as they are dealing with emotional crises of all sorts. And I have the feeling that we're going to have more and more of these when we hear about all of the rapes and the murders and the drug trafficking and the fentanyl issues and people losing family members.
How much blood is on this administration's hands that I don't hear the media talking about?
Well, there's a lot. And, I'm sure y'all have heard, maybe you haven't, there's a development down in South Texas in Liberty County. And there's a developer and a builder that is building basically a housing development for illegals. Our governor, Steve, got $1.4 million from this developer. Abbott's now calling for this to be on the special session to address this because it come to light a few weeks ago, and now everybody's going after it. But this is where child trafficking happens. This is where cartel is. Cartel's right here in our backyard in Texas. And people don't understand that this is what is driving the fentanyl and the child trafficking issue all across the country. Why are we continuing to sit back and be quiet and not raise our voices about what our legislators are doing to our country and to our state? It just blows my mind that more people are not speaking up.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing the job, and I'm ringing that bell every day with what I do for a living. We just need more people speaking up.
We are very blessed to be in the position we are. God called us for a mission, and we're doing that. And we cannot thank the following that we have enough that helps us spread the message. I could not be the person I am without all the people that chip in behind the scenes to help me.
Yeah.
So that's really important. Get your base behind you, spread the facts, and let's get people energized about saving this country because we're in dire straits right now.
I saw a video of Ted Cruz, senator here in Texas, a real senator, a real conservative senator, as opposed to the other guy that's in office. But he's talking to Mayorkas, and he shows an image of all of these different colored wristbands. And he asked Mayorkas if he had a clue what those things were. And Mayorkas said, no, he didn't. He'd never seen that before. Well, number one, because guy's either an absolute, total 100% liar, or he's in denial, or he's incompetent, or all of the above.
Well, they know what they mean. Those are cartel colors. That's what they are.
Exactly. And Ted Cruz pinned his ears to the wall, and he's always sitting there with that smug look on his face. I just want to come along and slap him on the face. And you just, I'm not condoning violence, so don't go, writing your congressman or whatever. But I am so incensed by the laissez-faire attitude and the arrogant attitude that we have from this administration, as well as from Austin. And I'm getting more and more annoyed with the stuff that's going on. And Kyle, before we came on the program today, you shared something about something that was just recently discovered in Plano. Tell us what you heard about that hotel.
There was a 9-year-old girl that was trafficked by a 15-year-old boy in a motel in Plano, Texas. And guys, this goes on every day. I'm fortunate enough to get information from people that go in and try to get these kids out and get them in safe homes. But make no mistake about it, this is about the children. They're coming after our grandchildren and our children. We have 5 granddaughters, and I cannot sit back and not say anything about this or do anything about this. I'm going to make it till my last breath to make people aware that this border has opened up the floodgates for them to come get our children. And that's what they're doing.
Steve, can you put up Kyle's information? Because I know on his Facebook page, he's a lot of people can get information on what's happening at the border. And then also, I think, Kyle, you said you had another link that people can look at or go to, but facebook.com/Kyle Sims. If you want to friend request and follow Kyle for more information, or if you go to his Twitter page, also known as X, at PatriotTXS. Twitter at PatriotTXS.
Did y'all see what Sarah Huckabee did in Arkansas a couple days ago?
I didn't hear. I just saw there was a big thing that was going on. Tell us what was going on.
She's basically making the Chinese investor give their land back to Arkansas. Why are we not doing that in Texas?
Every state should be doing that.
Absolutely, they should. And, I don't know why our governor doesn't have more backbone than he does. And I hate to say that because he's in our party. But why are we letting all these foreign nationals come in here and buy up our land right by military bases in South Texas to where these illegals can basically live and not ever be questioned? This is insanity, people.
You're being very kind. It's worse than insanity.
It is. It's just, and I tell, and Ray, I appreciate what you do in your safety program, because I tell people every day, you be safe, you be vigilant, you always be courageous, and you never waver to fear. And the vigilant part is very important due to the trafficking, not only children, but human trafficking that is happening amongst us in our communities. People need to be aware of their surroundings at all times. You never take your eyes off your children.
Yeah.
You don't talk on the phone when you're walking through a parking lot. There's so many things that people need to pay attention to that would help us curb this if we just simply paid attention and knew what was going on around us.
Yep.
Yeah. 100% correct.
Ray, here's an idea for a future program. Why don't you or producer Debbie come together with some ideas on some of the little symbols that are being used, whether it's somebody that puts a $10 bill underneath a wiper blade or a twist tie that's put on a doorknob or something like that. Some of the things that we need to watch out for that are signs that people are using to distract or, whatever, to take our kids, to carjack, to whatever. So that's your mission for a future program. And Kyle, anytime you want to jump in, you're welcome.
It's also hand signals for help. It's also the food symbols they use for children when they're being trafficked. Yeah, all that would be very helpful because a lot of people don't know.
Yeah,
right.
They don't know.
Nope. Yeah. We'll get it done. Put it together so that we can educate our community.
I wish you would. And guys, we got to take one last commercial break. And we got to say a big thank you to OBBM Network and all of the things that they are doing to help us and help America.
Entertainment expands your horizons, takes you on fantastic adventures, challenges your skills. Independent media never looked so good. Welcome to a new sphere of influence. Our words mean business. Traditional families are honored, and the American flag still flies.
And OBBM is Offbeat Business Media Network. and they are faith-based, they are focused on families, they are patriot-based, and anything that you can do to help and support them and encourage others to listen to them. They've got a number of really good programs that are on there. They've got a news broadcast that's on there on a regular basis. We are honored to be part of their network. And because of them, we are on Spotify and Apple and iHeart and Rumble and you name it. In fact, we've got our own Rumble channel, which is Taboo Talk TV with Ray and Steve. I am so fired up about that. So we just kind of keep spreading the word and get as many people in on some of these taboo topics as we possibly can. So again, thank you to OBBM Network and everything that they are doing here in North Texas also. So guys, we're running low on time. I think I've got one more video. We've been kind of touching on this already.
Can I mention one more thing?
Please do. Absolutely.
So when one big group of these illegals came across the river Sunday, we were filming them, and I'll send you this video. We asked them where they were from, and they told us, and then they started laughing and calling us cowards. How's that for America?
They're calling us cowards for one, and they're not crossing the border with the American flag saying, "Thank you, we love America." They're bringing their own flags from their country. They're waving their countries. If their countries are so bad and they're fleeing their country and coming to the United States for asylum, why the hell are they waving their own country's flag? Why aren't they waving the American flag? That's a load of BS.
And they're laughing at us in our face because they know that they just got their golden ticket to America. And there's no questions asked. That's what's insulting.
For 2 centuries, when people would come to the United States, they would often congregate and move to an settlement area that was with like-minded people. So like in Central Texas, there are a lot of Germans there. There are pockets where there are a lot of Chinese or Vietnamese or Italians or Spaniards or whatever. A friend of mine, unfortunately, passed away several years ago, but his family immigrated from Russia. When they got to the United States, they said, "We will no longer speak Russian in this household." And you don't have that today. Now that was 70, 80 years ago. But you don't have that sort of thing today. I lived up in Pittsburgh for a while, and there were these little pockets of people. You had the Greek culture and the Lebanese and the Italians and the Germans and the French and so forth. And they were their own little pockets. But in their areas, they spoke and they did things that were traditional things. But they got out of that and they were Americans. And so this nonsense of the hyphenated Americans is nonsense. We gotta kill that culture completely. And I'm just, we're feeding this nonsense.
We are.
Well, we're a melting pot. Oh, shut up. I'm sorry.
Look, if you want to come here legally, I don't have an issue with that. But disrespecting our flag, disrespecting our Constitution, the land in which we live, that's what I have an issue with.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, it's... Well, go ahead and play that video that you were going to show everybody, Steve.
Real quick one.
They were doing a lot of smuggling back in the day. They were doing humans at that time. Then it wasn't profitable to do humans, so they went to smuggling dope. Now it's more lucrative to smuggle humans. So they're back in the human business.
Human trafficking is the exploitation of a lot of these children, women, young boys, for sexual exploitation or forced labor. So human trafficking is a modern day slavery, and they have to endure whatever the cartels put them through.
And it's the same pipeline, it's the same structure, they just changed the commodity.
I guess my heart hurts more so for the children that are being dragged across, the elderly that are being dragged across. They don't have a choice in the matter, and they're being put in danger.
Now the cartels have taken over the human smuggling and the human trafficking as they've seen the profits and the enormous amounts of profits generated by the hundreds of thousands of people coming from all over the world. And then eventually when they come into the United States, if it's for prostitution and sexual exploitation purposes, they're used over and over and over. And so human trafficking has become a multi-billion-dollar industry just second to narcotics trafficking.
How do you explain this? What's different? Basically, we had a finger in the dam. We had a finger in the dam, and we pulled it out, and the dam cracked. Now we're trying to hold the dam, but the dam's breaking. If it were water, I would say we were flooding and drowning.
That speaks volumes. You know, Kyle, I'm sure you've seen the movie Sounds of Freedom. That needs to be mainstream at least once a month. People need to watch that video again. So what we are living with this border crisis and this invasion is real life, based on what we're seeing, Sounds of Freedom and all the other things. And you saw it firsthand.
But they don't need to just play Sounds of Freedom again. They need to make a second version that depicts or shows trafficking here in the United States, not in a third world country.
Yeah.
They need to make another movie to get Americans to wake up, because it's happening in our backyard. I don't care where in the United States you are, there's trafficking going on.
There is, and let's not forget to pray, continue to pray for all the business owners, the citizens, and more importantly, the ranchers in that area. My candidate is a rancher in that area.
Yeah.
The money these guys are having to spend out of their own pocket just to secure their ranches or move their families off for safety reasons, guys, it's up into hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so this economic impact that this is having on our society in the United States is just almost to the point it's unbearable. And we're sending people to the poorhouse, American citizens to the poorhouse, yet we're laying out the red carpet for illegals. That's where we are.
Well, and you know, you think about the number of veterans that are on the streets that are committing suicide on a daily basis, are homeless, are trying to figure out what in the world they're going to do tomorrow. What can they eat? And yet we are, as you said, we're rolling out the red carpet for the world. And it's just it's obscene. So,
well, that's why people ask me why I'm in this fight and why I'm on this campaign, and that's why, because I want to see a difference made in my lifetime. And whether I see that or not, I don't know, but I'm not going down on my knees. I'm going to keep fighting.
Hey, Kyle, let's. I wasn't planning on this, but why don't you do a shameless plug for the candidate that you were supporting?
Her name is Julie Clark. It's clarkforcongress.com. As I said earlier, even if you don't live in this district, it affects you. So I hope people will pay attention, whether it be monetarily, giving her an endorsement, just going to check out her page and reading what she's about. She's a rancher. She's a business owner. They live in this atrocity every single day. They can't walk out their front door without having a gun on their hip because they don't know what they're going to face. And when I'm down there, I'm the same way. So JulieClarkForCongress.com. And we hope to make a slight little change in D.C. if possible.
And for that same token, for those of you that are listening or watching, do you know who represents you? Do you know who, what their background is, what they stand for? And if they don't stand for your values and what you're looking for to keep our country safe and prosperous, then, back the person that is running against them, that is going to support our Constitution and support our way of life, which is free-thinking human beings that will not stand for communists coming in and destroying our country.
And that's not just D.C. Know your local officials and your state officials. all the way from the school board to the governor.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Yep. One last thing, Kyle, I understand you're going to a McKinney School Board meeting sometime soon as well.
I'm in town Monday night, so I will be at that meeting Monday night. My candidate will be on the Chad Prather show on Tuesday evening, and then we're headed back to the border.
Very cool.
Be
Kyle,
safe.
thank you.
Be
Thank
safe.
you
Yeah.
so much for what you're doing. So you're doing the work that some of us cannot do. So thank you for the voice that you have. Thanks for your willingness to come on and share your insights and your experience. And we need to do regular updates with you on what's going on.
I love your show, and I share it all the time, and I'm very honored for y'all to have me back, and I'll come back anytime, and I'll be a voice out there in the field for you.
We are the ones blessed by you. So thank you. Ray, any closing comments?
Would love to come out there and do a seminar for the good people of McKinney, Texas, and raise more awareness. And those of you that are watching, if you'd like us to come and do a safety seminar for kids or women or families in your area, send me a message and we'll try to get the funding to make it happen, or get the sponsors to get us to come out there and make it happen.
Absolutely.
So we just
Steve, trade our information with each other, and I'll get in touch with Ray. We'll make that happen here in McKinney.
We'll do it. I'll make sure you have it. All right, folks. This is Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve. And if you've got topics or things that you want us to talk about in an open forum, as long as the powers that be don't shut us down, that's why we're going to some of the other platforms as well, like the Rumbles and the Spotifys and so forth. We want to, open the curtains, pull the curtains back on some of these atrocities that are going on. So, Ray, Kyle, thank you guys very much. Have a blessed day. We'll see you soon.
Guys.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve. If you have suggestions for topics you would like us to discuss, or you would like to become a sponsor, reach out to us today at tabootalkwithrayansteve@gmail.com. In the meantime, check out the other amazing programs on OBBM Network on all your favorite podcast platforms. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Join us again for another fun and informative opinion-based episode. This is Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve.